We're doing a different kind of service today. It's called Feeling All Feelings, and it's the third commitment from the book, The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership. And sometimes you will get the feeling that there is something wrong for feeling all your feelings. You may have been taught that as a kid. Can you give me the clicker? Right. You may have been taught it as, thank you. You may have been taught it when you were young. You may have been shamed for crying, right? I was as a little boy. I used to cry all the time in grammar school, and the nuns used to make fun of me, and then the kids would make fun of me. And for decades, I stopped crying. And when it finally came back as an adult, when a crisis happened in my life, it was like a floodgate opened. And I was able to actually to let my feelings out again. And it's not only just those instances of shaming that happen to us, but it is also many, many times in people trying to get us to a place that will be more useful, they think, in the world. Well, don't feel that. just look at the bright side, right? And we unconsciously and consciously tell people that they shouldn't feel what they're feeling because it makes us uncomfortable sometimes. This book is amazing for that. And what I believe and what I want to talk to everybody about today is that it really is the unity principles that we feel all feelings. There aren't some good feelings and bad feelings. They're all part of the one. As I mentioned in our opening prayer, there's only one power and one presence active in the universe and in our lives, God. That's the first unity principle, that there's only one. And therefore, everything that we feel is part of that one. Everything is in God. Life, death, birth, creation, destruction, pain is all part of the divine planet. And when we can breathe into that and be willing to go through all of our emotions, things shift, things change. In this book, as we've been talking about, they talk about living either above the line or below the line. And we want to be really clear. We all live below the line. Below the line is our natural state sometimes because of our brain, or we are hardwired to look for things that could harm us. We are hardwired to look for things that could go wrong. It's a safety mechanism, but it sometimes just pushes us in consciousness to what's wrong rather than accepting what is. In this book, in the third statement, in this third commitment, is this: I commit to feeling my feelings all the way through to completion. They come and I locate them in my body, then move, breathe, and vocalize them so they release all the way through. Whew. That's a commitment to feeling our feelings. And they talk about it in this book, and I love it too because they talk about animals. Animals vocalize. Dogs bark, cats hiss. They vocalize what they're feeling so that it doesn't get stuck. But as human beings with our intellect, sometimes we go, oh, it's not proper that I make that sound right now. It's not acceptable here in church, here at Unity, to be making that kind of motion. So I want you to just tap into whatever place you're feeling right now, where you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable, where you're feeling a little bit anxious about what's going on in your life or in the world. And I invite you right now in this moment to vocalize it. So tap into something that's not going right in your life and in the world and give it a sound. Oh, oh, come on. I know we can do better than that. Something that's really not going well in the world, okay? Feel into that. Take a deep breath, locate it in your body, and then go, and then you can shake it out too, right? Okay. Whew. And that's how we change energy. That's how we change it. When we're below the line here, we are committed to resisting, judging, and apologizing for my feelings. How many of us say, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm upset, I'm emotional. We apologize for exactly what we're going through. And it took me years of therapy to even get to the point where I could even identify what I was feeling. So I want to just to click into us first here. It's like, because we really understand now that success in life, success in leadership, success in the world is based on EQ, emotional intelligence, just as much as it's based on IQ. But if you can't define what emotions are or where you're feeling them in your body, how they're manifesting in your life, you don't have emotional literacy, right? So what is the definition of emotion? What is emotion? Right? In this book, I think I got, yes, an emotion is merely energy or a sensation, the moving in the body. Then it is neither good nor bad, right nor wrong. It just is, right? So when we can get to the point where we really truly understand that we are just feeling this for the moment, that we can stop judging, I shouldn't be feeling this way, it frees us to let the emotion pass through. Jill Bolte Taylor, Stroke of Insight, if you ever read her book or seen her TED Talk on it, says that emotions last for the most at about 90 seconds. If you're feeling an emotion, it lasts for the most about 90 seconds, except that we start intellectualizing it, and we try and figure it out. And then what we do is repeat the emotion all over, because we repeat the story in our head. We reassert how we're right about a situation. We reassert how they're wrong, and we cast blame and judgment, and then all of a sudden that emotion is on a repeat cycle, like a record that just keeps playing and playing. Ever done set that on your iPhone where it's like, oh my God, I got to get that song off because it just keeps playing over and over again? Well, that's what we do sometimes when we habitualize our emotional state. There's an opportunity here for us to become more literate. I have been studying this now for a couple of weeks as I've dove into this book and have been teaching this. It's an opportunity to be fully human. You know, we often teach here that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And sometimes the spiritual teaching does not allow us to be human, to be fully human. That we go, it's all good. God's at work, even when it hurts like hell, right? And I want us to be free today, and why we're doing this a little different today. I want us to be free to feel all of our feelings, all of them. And we do have a great opportunity here to let our music team help us feeling. Because what's one of the best ways to feel emotions is music, right? So now I'm going to invite the music team up, and we are going to start. While they get into place, I'm going to set this up for you. The authors of this book identify 5 different emotions. 5 different emotions that they say everything else is a subset of. So, like there are only 3 primary colors, and every color in the world is a subset of one of those 3 colors. The 5 emotions are joyfulness, fear, anger, sexuality, sensuality, and sadness. 5 different emotions. right? And we're going to explore them today. But first, we're going to explore them with joy. So if you feel like it, I invite you to stand. If you don't, I invite you to sit there and sulk. Because every feeling we're feeling today works. But we have some great music. Go ahead, Luke. We have some great music, and I dare you not to feel the joy with James Brown. Okay, there you go. Go ahead.
So that was get up on your feet, because I can't hear you if you're sitting in your seat, and we're about to have a joyful time up in here. Woo! I feel good. I knew that I would now. I feel good. I knew that I would now. So good, so good. I got you. I feel nice, like sugar and spice. I feel nice, like sugar and spice. So nice, so nice, I got you. Play! Mark Bomb on that sexy saxophone. When I hold you in my arms, I know that I can do no wrong. And when I hold you in my arms, my love won't do you no harm. And I feel nice, like sugar and spice. I feel nice, like sugar and spice. So nice, so nice, I got you. Come on, Mark. When I hold you in my arms, I know that I can do no wrong. When I hold you in my arms, your love can't do me no harm. And I feel nice, like sugar and spice. I feel nice, like sugar and spice. So nice, so nice, I got you. Sounds so good. Do it one more time. Hey, so nice, I got you. Last time, so nice, I got you. Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. Whew. That is joy. And joy, as we know, as one of our core values, joy is the happiness that is inside of us. It is not dependent on anything on the outside. So you get that? Because if your happiness, if your joy is dependent on something happening in the outside world, it is transactional. Joy actually comes from within you, and it's what you bring to the celebration of life. And this is true for me because I know that, there can be many people in a room experiencing something together, and some people will like it, and some people will hate it, absolutely hate it. It has to do with what your experience of the situation is and your presence to whatever is going on. Joy is subtle. Joy is sensual. Joy is transcendent. It is about life expressing through your eyes. Right? And it comes from within, and you bring it to the moment, which you all did because of the chord structure and because of the familiarity or the memory of the music. All happened within you and then happened communally within us. So my question to you at home did you get up and dance too with us? For those of you who are watching it on your device or watching it in your pajamas still, did you rock out even in your chair, right? Those are the opportunities to understand where you're feeling joy. And sometimes we get blocked from feeling joy because we think we shouldn't. But that's, one of the strangest things is for life is how much laughter I have experienced at funerals and wakes and memorial services, right? And pure joy comes from love, right? Because we know that joy is in memory too. We remember the happiest times. We remember the joy. And sometimes in those moments of sadness, we have the absolute flip. And I think that goes back to what Jill Bolte Taylor talks about. Emotions last just mere seconds, that we can feel true grief and sadness and joy in the next second, right? When we're not attached to the emotion meaning more than it needs to. So with that, I'm going to bring us to the next emotion we're going to study. And that is in feeling all feelings. I'm sorry, we're going to go one more quote first. Feelings are often resisted and repressed because they're viewed as a distraction to good decision making. Now, this happens in business a lot, but it happens in our society too. It's like, and what we fail to do is to take into account all centers of intelligence in our body. Did you know that there are more than one centers of intelligence in your body, right? Of course, there is our mind. That's where we do our thinking. But there's also the heart, right? And heart has its own intelligence. And the Heart Math Institute here in California has proven that there's an electromagnetic field generated by our heart that's more powerful than actually the one generated by our brains. And that's why we can walk into someone's aura and feel how they feel. We get the feeling from them. But the heart also knows. It knows before the mind does, right? So when we discount feelings, we're discounting part of our intelligence, our heart intelligence. There's also the gut, right? You feel things in your gut. That's an instinctual feeling, and the gut also has its own intelligence center. So when you notice that you're feeling something in your stomach, butterflies, warning signals, that's something to pay attention to because it makes us a bigger and rounder receptacle and amplifier of truth, of wisdom, of wholeness. And one of the other things that's really interesting to me about it is that's what they talk about in this book. And a lot of secular people talk about the intelligence centers of the body, the three. But there's actually four. In Unity, we teach, and I believe there's also divine mind, that there is a wisdom of the divine, God, Spirit, that exists above us all, right? And we can tap in our moments of meditation, in our moments of prayer, in our moments of true coherence. We can tap into the divine mind. And when we tap into the divine mind energy, that intelligence, that's the sweet spot of knowing that our mind and God mind are all in one. And that leads us to real, true, right action. That's the illumined next step. And part of that is clearing our body, being willing to feel and to receive all of the indications from our body. So one of the next ones we're going to look at, the emotion we're going to look at, is anger. And people often get scared by anger, right? Because it can be intimidating. Scared by their own, scared by other people's anger, frustration. The moments of anger are an opportunity for us to see clearly what's important. And the song that Misa's going to sing here is one that you may know. And if you don't, I recommend you put it in your iPad or put it in your phone for any time you really need to get some anger out. It's one of the best for expressing your anger. So I'm going to just let Misa take it away.
I want you to know I'm happy for you. I'm not quite as well. I thought you should know. Did you forget about me, Mr. Duplicity? I hate to bug you in the middle of dinner. It was a slap in the face, how quickly I was replaced. And are you thinking of me when you're with her? Me when you're with her? Cause the love that you gave, that we made, wasn't able to make it enough for you to be open wide. No. And every time you speak her name, does she know how you told me you'd hold me until you died? Till you died, but you're still alive. And I'm here to remind you of the mess you left when you went away. It's not fair to deny me of the cross I bear that you gave to me. You ought to know.
I bet you never thought you'd hear that song in church. No. Good old Alanis. I wore that record out, right? It wasn't even a record, it was a CD. But I wore it over out, right? Wow. Yeah. Anger. You know what anger does first? Anger tells us what's important to us. Anger tells us that something's out of whack. Something's out of alignment. Anger tells us that we need to see this or shift it or cut it away from our lives. Anger tells us that this is not working, right? It's a wake-up call to say, okay, what do I need to let go of? What do I need to trim from my life? What do I need to do differently? What do I need to take on, right? When we use toxic anger, it's all everyone else's fault, right? Alanis is a little bit on that side of toxic anger there. But when we can be conscious that we're angry, and we can also then clue into the moment, to the understanding that this is here for us to know something important. It is important. When we get angry about how other people or we are treated, this is showing us what we value and how out of line the values of the group we're in. It may be that I need to leave this situation. I need to leave this organization. I need to leave this relationship, right? That's what anger is here for us. And when we can tap into it and stop just telling the story of how we were wronged so many times, and take control and step up and say, okay, I am committed to stay above the line. I am committed to feeling all of my feelings all the way through the end, and take out the pillow and the bat, or take out the plates that you're never going to use again and break them, right? Because, I used to do it with pottery, terracotta pottery in gardening, because I always needed more shreds of pots, broken pots for the bottoms of planters I was planting. There's nothing like taking a terracotta pot and smashing it into a million pieces on the sidewalk. And saying what you're mad about. There are amazing ways to get that energy out of your body, right? Where it doesn't build up and become toxic energy for you. So, anger is important. And what's so challenging and an opportunity for growth, for all of us, is to be with other people's anger. To witness it for them, and not be triggered by it, right? Just to notice that this person's really angry because they value something. And even if it's an appropriate moment, to notice that for them. Wow, that's really important to you. You really value this, right? This is what you're about. This is part of your core value. And this opportunity to gently and lovingly witness someone's anger, What an opportunity to really be spiritually with someone, right? What an opportunity to shift a situation. One of the other major emotions is fear. You may call it trepidation, you may call it butterflies, you may call it anxiety. Whatever it is, fear is another way that we as human beings express. And fear is important because it is a wake-up call to us. It is a wake-up call to say, you cannot do this by rote. This is important, and you need to be fully present. Fully present. But fear often shows up like this song by Linkin Park.
There's something inside me that pulls beneath the surface, consuming, confusing. Against my will, I stand beside my own reflection. It's haunting how I can't seem to find myself again. The walls are closing in without a sense of confidence. I'm convinced that there's just too many horrors to face. I felt this way before, so insecure, crawling in my skin. These wounds, they will not heal. Fear is how I fall, confusing what is real. Crawling in my skin. These wounds, they will not heal. Fear is how I fall, confusing what is real.
Yeah, confusing what is real. But it doesn't have to be that way. We think fear is telling us that we're on the wrong track, right? Fear means, I can't do this. I shouldn't do this. This is God's Spirit, the universe, telling me that this isn't mine to do. Well, how many folks has anyone never felt fear? Okay, okay, great. So it's just a level setter. We've all felt it. But when you go through the fear, when you express courage, literally core, when you express courage and take action in the face of fear, how many times have something marvelous happened in your life because you walked through the fear and didn't believe that it was telling you stop, but telling you wake up. Pay attention, use all of your faculties, use all of your resources, telling you this is important. Fear is telling us that this is something we've not done before. Fear is telling us that this is something that is scary but important to us. So do it. Do it consciously. Don't do it by rote. And that is an opportunity to shift everything once again. So we've got joy, anger, fear, and the next emotion. Oh, because I'm pressing the wrong button. No, it is stuck. Okay, next slide here. Sensuality, right? In the book, they call it sexuality. It's like, yeah, I don't know. Because they also identify it as just, in the erogenous zones. But in my life, the erogenous zone has ended up being my whole body. I don't know about you. But sensuality is so much more important than sexuality. And let me be really clear. Sensuality means that your whole body is tingling. You're alive with the senses, all of them. Your skin, the touch, the sounds, the smell, the taste. When we are creative, we are in tune with the sensual nature of our human experience. And to create something here on earth that has never happened before, to create a company, to create a relationship, to create a community, to create a product, involves all of our senses. And it is that procreation project, example, showing all of the things that it takes to create something new, a new dynamic, a new intersection, a new thing that has never existed before, takes all of the senses of our body. And it takes us being willing to say, yes, I will be vulnerable. Yes, I will explore what I've never explored before. Yes, I will use my sensuality, my wholeness, to create something that the world needs. Because we're here, we are spiritual beings here on the planet, here to express our full divinity and to create, to co-create with the divine something new. So our sexuality, sensuality is part of that. Say yes.
I've been thinking about you for a long time. Is that all right? Loving you has taken time, but I always knew you could be mine. I recognize the butterflies inside me. Sense is gonna be made tonight. All you gotta do is say yes. All you gotta do is say yes. Don't deny what you feel. Let me undress you, babe. Open up your mind and just rest. I'm about to let you know you make me so. All you gotta do is say yes. Don't deny what you feel. Let me undress you, babe. Open up your mind and just rest. I'm about to let you know you make me so. You make me so.
Yeah. And I think it's really safe to say that the downfall of a lot of people has been confusing their sensuality with their sexuality. And that idea, that energy of creativity and the newness of saying yes to, and that gets in a lot of trouble. But just being aware that when we collaborate with each other on something that's truly important, it's a sensual experience. When we come together in this room and we come together in this music, all of our senses are taken up by it. And understanding that emotional component that we're drawn into is important. The last one, of course, was one of the hardest for all of us. Sadness, grief, despair, melancholy, ennui. To lean into sadness as part of the divine, as part of our whole human experience, calls on us to know that we do get to grieve. We do get to grieve for what we lose, right? Because all of life is a process of loss and new acquisition. A child loses being a child to become an adult. We become the adults. We become the elders. We become the ones who carry on the legacy. And that involves saying goodbye to our parents, to our grandparents, to our friends, sometimes to our children. Every situation changes, constantly. It is the only constant in the world, and yet we resist it so much because as a society, we sometimes think it's not okay to be sad. We give lip service to, oh yeah, well, they need to grieve, but they should go off and do it in the corner. They shouldn't do it with us, and they shouldn't be able to do it however long it takes, right? We have drugs that are sometimes very, very necessary for people to get through depression and grief. Absolutely. And at the same time, as a society, I believe we need to build the muscle for being able to hold sadness and to hold our grief and treat it with honor. Because when we can let it run through us, we can become in touch with the things that have mattered greatly to us, that are shifting, and to say goodbye to them with presence, with dedication, and with honor.